Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight live on KMTV. I'm Kristen Hawthorne and here are your top stories on Friday the 3rd of October. Archbishop makes history. Dame Sarah Mullally becomes first woman ever to be appointed to lead the Church of England.
I have the privilege to see hope in communities, chaplaincies and churches in the Church of England and across the wider Anglican communion.
Abuser brought to justice. Serial domestic abuser from Ashford receives sentence today in Canterbury. And models for heroes. Canterbury Model Company partners with charity to provide opportunities for veterans across Medway.
It's almost like a steam valve releasing all that pressure that's been built up, and it does help so much.
First tonight, after almost a year of anticipation, the new Archbishop of Canterbury has been chosen, and for the first time in the Church of England's history, it's a woman. Dame Sarah Mullally was officially named as the successor of Justin Welby, who resigned over a safeguarding scandal. She will become the 106th Archbishop after serving as the Chief Nursing Officer for England and the Bishop of London. Finn McDermott was at the cathedral earlier and joins me now to discuss this. So, like I just said, you were there earlier. What was the atmosphere like as people found out?
Well, it was a very interesting atmosphere. When we actually found out that Dame Sarah Mullally would be the new Archbishop, we were all in the press room ahead of time because Downing Street comes out with the announcement at around 10 a.m. and then it's only by 10:30 that you actually go into the cathedral, and as we can see there, you get to meet and hear the address from the Dame. It was a very interesting atmosphere. The halls are normally quite quiet, but it was a sort of a louder atmosphere as the assembled peoples learned more about Sarah, learned about her policies, how she likes to talk, and that sort of thing. Reportedly, many in the church didn't consider her to be a frontrunner due to her age. She's 63, and once you get to the age of 70, you have to retire unless you can get a one-year extension by the monarch. So it was a surprise, I think, to maybe some of the assembled peoples, but those from the church would have known this for some time.
And, what does it mean for the church? Are there people that disagree?
Well, it's multi-layered. I think the first thing that comes to people's minds is that the last Archbishop, Justin Welby, resigned over what's been referred to as a damning report into child abuser John Smith. He said he had to take personal responsibility for what had happened. Sarah, the Dame, did bring this up briefly in her address. She also talked at length about her own policy and what she wants going forward. In fact, we can hear a little bit about of what she said now.
Given the many struggles of our church and of societies here and around the world, I am often asked where I see hope. I have the privilege to see hope in communities, chaplaincies and churches in the Church of England and across the wider Anglican communion.
Thank you so much for joining us, Finn. We will come back to that on Monday. Now, almost 2.5 years after he died, a special headstone has been laid for TV star and former Adlington resident Paul O'Grady. The comedian, broadcaster and drag queen died at his home near Ashford in March of 2023 from a cardiac arrest. Since then, the 67-year-old's husband, Andre Porsaio, has fought for his husband to be given a headstone at his grave in St Rumwald's Church in Bonington. Getting one put up in the Church of England's graveyard where he's buried required special permission from church authorities, but after a lengthy battle, the final design has now been laid. The headstone bears the name of his former long-term partner and figurine of his beloved dog, Buster. And now, a football club has been left counting the cost of a break-in after a forced entry into its clubhouse and storage units. Rochester United chairman Matt Hume says the club is devastated after discovering its ground in Strood had been ransacked overnight. He was alerted at around 6:30 this morning when staff arrived to open up and found a gate padlock on the floor at its stadium in Reed Court Road. The chairman said they've stolen 3 of our trimmers, an air blower and even taken money from sweep machines for the kids. A spokesperson A police spokesperson confirmed the force was called to reports of a burglary and an investigation is now underway. But next tonight, a 36-year-old man from Ashford was served a sentence in Canterbury Crown Court following pleading guilty to a number of charges, including engaging in controlling and coercive behaviour in an intimate or family relationship. Our reporter Ronnie Glastal was there and sent us these details.
Today, 36-year-old Terry Andrews of Beaver Lane in Ashford, with a total of 9 counts, including but not limited to wound or inflict grievous bodily harm without intent, intentional strangulation, engaging in controlling or coercive behavior in an intimate or family relationship, was served a suspended sentence of 24 months, during which he must complete 200 hours of unpaid work towards his community, 26 sessions of the Building Choices program, 10 days of rehabilitation activity requirement, and pay a sum of £1,630 in installments of £200 a month. Andrews was present in the court for proceedings, along with a victim accompanied by her aunt and brother, as well as a full public gallery. Early on in proceedings, the court heard from the prosecutor reading out at the judge's request WhatsApp messages included in evidence reports demonstrating the verbal abuse the victim suffered, including explicit name-calling and accusations of dishonesty. The court also heard from the victim directly, reading out a statement in which she closed by saying, "I forgive you, not because you deserve my forgiveness, but because I deserve peace." The defense then shared with the court elements of Andrew's personal circumstances, stating that he is remorseful for the way the relationship went, that he has been on bail throughout proceedings and now has full-time employment, a stable home with his mother, who was present in the public gallery, his 2 children, and a new partner. When serving the sentence to Andrews, recorder Amy Nicholson expressed that from character letters read, it is clear he is someone who, prior to this, was of good, positive character, and that he should be grateful so many individuals, knowing full well the charges against him, still wrote in his favour.
Now, dozens of angry dog owners marched to their local council offices to protest new restrictions which ban them from letting their pets off their leads. About 60 residents walked with their dogs from the Lees bandstand to the Civic Centre in Folkestone to make their voices heard. It follows the adoption of a new public spaces protection order which extends the number of areas where dogs must be kept on leads. Campaigners say the move unfairly targets responsible owners and was pushed through despite limited feedback in the public consultation process. However, Folkestone and Hythe District Council insists the rules are necessary to address complaints of uncontrolled animals, particularly near families and near young children as well. And now, Kent Wildlife Trust is celebrating the birth of a new female calf in its world-famous Blean Bison project, making it the 3rd of its generation. The Blean Bison project, which began 3 years ago with the help of Wildwood Trust, was established to boost biodiversity, aid species recovery and restore natural woodland in Canterbury. Our community reporter Henry Luck joins us now with more. So, Henry, thank you so much for joining us. To start us off, can you tell us a bit about what the Blean project actually is?
Well, as you can imagine, it's all about restoring the habitat of the bison, and thanks to it, this is the first time in 1,000 years where the bison can roam freely, because back in the 20th century they were constantly hunted, but now this project is all about restoring this species.
And is that why their population is so low? I mean, I know it's increasing now, obviously, but is that why it was so low, because of the hunting?
I think it was the main reason, but
okay.
Thankfully now that population's been jumped up to 9, and the first bison that were born a couple of years ago are now grandparents.
Excellent. And what have the results been of the project so far? We've got 9 of these, but has it been a success all the way through?
I think it has been a success because bison are needed to help restore the woodlands, so that could be carving bark, creating sunlight, and also creating dust bath sites for amphibians and invertebrates.
And I mean, we can see is this the granddaughter, is it? The grandson?
This is the granddaughter. It's a female, so no doubt that will help with reproduction and ensuring the project continues to be a success.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very cute. Was it a surprise pregnancy? Because I believe that there was some in the past, wasn't there?
There was one last year where 2 were born suddenly, but I think this one has been planned for, but hopefully there'll be plenty more pleasant surprises along the way for this project.
Hopefully. And what's being done to protect the bison, and maybe this one in particular?
Well, under UK law, European bisons are considered to be dangerous animals, so there are some legal requirements that need to be met, such as putting up 26 miles of fencing around them in their woodland, which is about the size of 70 football pitches. And there is the issue of footpaths going onto the site, and that's why bridges have been built so that the public can admire them from a distance and give the bison more space to grow.
So the message overall is admire them from a distance, but definitely admire them because we haven't had them in a long time.
That's true.
Excellent, Henry. Well, hopefully in the future we'll be seeing great-granddaughters and sons.
Hopefully.
And we can follow it and we'll see all the different bisons coming in. Thanks a lot, Henry.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, time for a quick break coming up now, but we'll be speaking with Megan Quirk, who we spoke to last Friday about her fundraiser for breast cancer and with Shining Star. But all that and more after the break. We'll see you then. Well, hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight Live on KMTV. Swift speeds, silly costumes and supporting good causes. The Race for Others charity event at Buckmore Park raised to £30,000 for charities such as Breast Cancer Now and My Shining Star. This year, the event celebrated the 5th anniversary and brought together drivers and supporters from across the region. We spoke to Megan Quirk, the creator of the race, last Friday, and now, a week later, we've caught up with her to see how things have been going.
My mum having breast cancer did affect us in a big way as a family, but the way we dealt with it was just with humour. We made jokes, taking the mickey. It brought us closer together as a family, and this really fits in really well with that you can still have a laugh while going through things like that, and it's nice that you can turn something so upsetting into something so positive.
Those are the words of Megan, whose mother was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, later being put into remission in 2022. In 2021, though, Megan began raising money for a range of cancer charities in Kent, including Breast Cancer Now and My Shining Star, to help support others who fight similar battles. Over those past 5 years, she has organised races at Buckmore Park, where people dress up and name their teams after symptoms of cancer, both to raise awareness and to create a positive atmosphere for those struggling. But she says that this year's event was the best yet.
This is the first year that we actually sold out completely, so we ended up with over 100 people turning up for the event, which was more than I expected as it was. People come dressed up in outfits and everything, and it just looked brilliant. Everyone was in a good mood, really excited, and it just went really well. Everyone seemed to come away enjoying themselves. So normally at the event, we've normally raised between 3,000 and 4,000, and then we normally make a little bit extra on top as well. Last year we made £7,000 in total. This year we're already nearly at the 7,000 mark just from the event alone. So I think we're probably going to get near the 8,000 mark this year, which will then push the total over the 5 years to 30,000, which is brilliant. As my mum always said to me, something positive will come out of something negative.
So as Megan continues to share her message of channeling negativity into positivity, the race to support others is just beginning. Kristen Hawthorne for KMTV. Brilliant story there, but now don't forget you can keep up to date with all our latest stories across Kent by logging onto our website kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all the reports, including this one, about residents of Paddock Wood outraged over delayed and damaged parcels, including those with vital medical supplies.
It's not just bits of paper that we're waiting for and can endlessly wait for. It's impacting people's lives.
With mailboxes and letterholes donning the front of houses across the county, it's clear how important parcel deliveries are to our daily lives. And as the country's largest postal service, the Royal Mail is central to this process. It's easy to take the post service for granted, but when things go wrong and the letters stop coming, the consequences can be serious. Laura Jane Manuel is a Paddock Wood resident who has been particularly let down by the Royal Mail.
I have a couple of chronic medical conditions. I've missed quite significantly important medical appointments. I also am reliant on medication being delivered to me and haven't received it in the time frame that it should have been delivered in, or haven't received it at all.
When Laura does receive her post, it's often weeks' worth of letters at a time. These backlogs can be a matter of life and death.
Not receiving that medication means that potentially I would need further medication administered to me if I was to collapse. Living on my own with a 10-year-old son, that responsibility falls onto my 10-year-old son to administer that medication, to make sure I stay alive or out of a coma, which a 10-year-old child shouldn't have the responsibility of.
Laura's story is just one of many, with 33 residents across the area submitting a joint complaint to Royal Mail. Asked for comment, a Royal Mail spokesperson said, "We are aware of service issues in Paddock Wood and apologise to residents affected. Our team in Tonbridge has been working hard to improve service locally, and following a recent recruitment campaign, our new posties will begin training in the coming weeks." But for local residents, the Royal Mail's promises are still undelivered. Alfie Rowe for KMTV in Tunbridge Wells.
And now at the office today, it was quite dark outside and the rain came along, there was lots of wind, so I wonder what it's been like for you. So let's take a look at the weather for the coming days. This evening, we'll see light rain settling in across the county, continuing into the early hours of tomorrow morning. Temperatures overnight will remain mild, with lows at around 15 degrees, and by tomorrow, conditions will remain relatively cool, with highs only reaching about 17 degrees. As we move into the weekend then, we will see a shift in the weather. The sun will begin to break through the clouds at times, bringing some sunshine to the county. It won't be particularly warm though. Well, staying with the weather, Kent residents have been warned about potential risk to life as Storm Amy is expected to hit the county over the weekend. Strong winds are expected to arrive this evening with an amber warning in place indicating danger to life, along with power outages, travel disruption and especially hazardous conditions along the coastal areas, so beware there, I suppose. Maisie Walker is here now with the latest updates. Maisie, you've been looking into this all day, really. I mean, when we first heard about the storm. So what's the latest? I mean, what do we have? Is any dangers?
Yeah, so the Met Office issued the amber warnings today for the north of the UK as Storm Amy brings very strong winds and heavy rain for the coming days. Right now, the storm is still currently developing in the Atlantic and it's said to bring disruptive, wet and windy weather for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, northwest England and northwest Wales from this afternoon and into Saturday.
And so, I mean, from what you've said there, I'm getting the vibe that it's worse up in Northern Ireland and in Scotland. Are people in Kent at risk?
Yeah, so not at this current time. You know, the impact of Storm Amy is expected to reach Kent by the weekend, so there's not really much of a big concern just yet. Obviously, you can kind of sense of what's to come if you've been out today. It's been very windy with some scatters of rain, but for tonight, the only thing I'd really recommend is just wearing a coat and to be careful if you're heading out for this evening, as the wind is going to start to pick up, reaching up to 47 miles per hour at its peak. And there's going to be some light rain as well. But looking ahead, a yellow weather warning is in place for Kent on Saturday and Sunday, with some minor impacts expected, like possible travel delays in a few areas. But for those at home that aren't really sure what a yellow weather warning is, it's basically issued when there's expected to be some disruption to certain areas, specifically with travel. But overall, the impact is likely to be low, so you can carry on doing your daily routine.
Okay, fabulous. So while it might be worse, it'll be all right here.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And finally, Agora Models, based in Canterbury, has donated their armour kits to Charity Models for Heroes. The charity encourages veterans to take up a new hobby, meet others with similar lived experiences and find new meaning and purpose. Our reporter, Megan Shaw, joined a group in Gillingham.
What do helicopters, glue and military veterans all have in common? They can all be found in Models for Heroes sessions, which allows veterans to distract themselves, focus on something meaningful and find comfort in shared experiences. Founded in 2017, the charity hosts 2 sessions in Kent, one in Gillingham and the other in Aylesford, which sees attendees create and paint their own models. A recent collaboration between the Canterbury-based Agora Models, a company specialising in museum-grade model kits, has donated these to veteran groups in support of World Mental Health Day next week.
Models for Heroes is a support group for military veterans and emergency personnel, and their group revolves around making models, assembling model kits and building dioramas.
But why models? A study in the British Journal of Occupational Therapy found creative hobbies boost mental well-being, and focusing on a personal project creates a sense of purpose and accomplishment.
People get so much out of it. I can't sort of emphasise that enough. It's, you know, guys that maybe for the first time have come out and interacted with a group of ex-service personnel, and it's not long before, as I say, the banter starts. But it's great. It's almost like a steam valve releasing all that pressure that's been built up, and it does help so much.
And increased well-being is not the only benefit on offer here.
As you can see here, these are super fiddly, but they're great for improving dexterity. I'm really struggling here, but these guys are much better than me.
For some, Models for Heroes sessions have been a lifeline.
I'm a veteran of the military of 17.5 years in the Royal Engineers, and I suffer with PTSD, and it helps no end. Unfortunately, I've been to some dark places, and I know the benefit of this because, as I said, it pushes all the nasty thoughts to the back of the mind.
As long as places like these continue to offer support for veterans, the war against loneliness wages on. Megan Shaw for KMTV in Gillingham.
Fantastic report from Megan Shaw there. But now you've been watching Kent Tonight live on KMTV, but there's more news made just for you throughout the evening, so don't miss it. And we'll be back on Monday at 5:30. See you then. Bye-bye.